Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I am your host Andrew, and joining me tonight, back from a little break, we got Ron. How you doing, bud?
Good. Tired.
I understand that, and tired's understandable after watching your Eagles give that one up late last night, man.
Uh, yeah.
Hey, it's not often that the Vikings fan is feeling better than just about everybody else, so I'm going to revel in it because it's probably only going to last for a couple weeks before they remember, oh yeah, we're the Vikings. We're not supposed to win games like this, so I'm just going to enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Some changes need to come, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's week 2. It's too early for anybody to be freaking out, except the Panthers. But they should have been in freak out mode to start the season, so that's okay. So, Ronnie, what you drinking tonight, bud?
I am drinking water. I haven't drank any alcohol in probably a good month and a half.
Nothing wrong with that, man. For me tonight, I went since we're feeling fall. I went with the hard cider from Blake's Hard Cider Company. I went with the triple jam tonight: strawberry, blackberry, raspberry. It's pretty tasty, not too sweet. All right, so we'll roll it into the playoff chase. Clearly, going to be the biggest story from here to the end of the year. Looking at the National League race right now, your division leaders are the Phillies in the number 1 overall spot. The Dodgers are at 2. The Brewers are at 3. And I would say pretty much at this point, I think we could probably just about call those races settled, except for Dodgers Padres. The Padres are still within striking distance of the division. They're only 3.5 games back. 4 games back after games. No, 3.5 games back coming into games tonight. So definitely they're not out of it yet. So that'll be a consideration to look at. But the rest of the divisions are pretty much done. I would say after Atlanta split with the Dodgers, I don't think we're going to be able to get enough steam to catch Philadelphia, and neither of the Mets with the nice beatdown you guys put on them this weekend.
Well, you guys might catch the Mets. That's the only. I mean, they can be streaky right now, and I mean, honestly, it's anybody's game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll catch the Mets. Or to be honest, it could be Braves Mets in there. It might be Diamondbacks out. The Diamondbacks have been skidding a little bit lately.
Fuck a Wayne.
Yeah, 4 there goes the cat. 4-6 in the last 10 for the Diamondbacks. I mean, they've hit a little bit of a rough patch, and I mean, if that would continue, you're not going to see me be too upset about it. Braves and Mets only separated by a game at this point. I think that's gonna go back and forth until the Braves and Mets have their last series, which is coming up next week. It's in Atlanta, so I like my odds there. The probables at this point are Schwellenbach, Quintana, Sale, Severino, and Morton Peterson. But of course, we're a week out, so those might change by that point depending on how teams are doing. And for Atlanta this week,
and stuff.
yeah, for Atlanta this week, it's at the Reds, at the Marlins. No excuse not to either go 2 out of 3 or sweep all week. I was last week was kind of a mixed bag. Dropping the one game makeup against Cincinnati, whatever. It was a 1-0 game. They split with the Nationals. They really should have taken that series, but splits, whatever. Split with the Dodgers. See, I'm not upset about the split with the Dodgers, but at the same time, when you win 6-2, 10-1, and then drop the next 2, 9-2, 9-0, it was not the starting pitching. The starting pitching did great in both games. It's just when the starters got pulled, the bullpen just imploded. And that's unusual because Atlanta's bullpen's been largely reliable this year. And this is not the time of the year I want to start seeing the bullpens freaking implode. I mean, that 9-2 game, I think they scored like 6 in the 9th inning or something insane like that. So, it was just a bad end of it. Like the series started so good, and then ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, as it always does, screws Atlanta, and there went that momentum that they got from the first 2 games. It is what it is, I guess. Looking around, I know the Cubbies are only 5 out, so they're not eliminated yet. It's getting tight, though. Here's the thing. Cubs fans last week, they started great. They took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, and then they dropped 2 out of 3 in Colorado. Like, at this point in the year, if you're in the wild card chase, you cannot lose a series to a team that's been eliminated. They've got the A's this week. They've got the Nationals. So again, it's another week of teams that they should be able to just beat up on, and they did beat the Athletics last night 9-2. Imananga picked up his 14th win of the year. I mean, he's having a great rookie year, 14-3. What a signing he was!
I will be right back. You can continue on.
All right. I'll talk about the Phillies then when Ron gets back. We'll look at the Padres real quick here. The Padres are pretty much, I think at this point, they've pretty much cemented that they're going to hold on to the top wild card spot. And if not the top wild card spot, they will possibly take the division from LA. It's a little bit of a stretch. It's getting tight, but they do have one more series heads up with the Dodgers, but it is in Los Angeles. That'll be next week. Past week, though, a good week. The Padres got their jobs done. They split the 2-gamer in Seattle, and then they swept the Giants in San Fran. So that series is done for the year. And then they beat Houston last night 3-1. So, I mean, they're still beating the teams they need to beat that are ahead of them. Looking at Arizona. Sorry, that one didn't pull up for some reason. So looking at Arizona, like I said, they've been skidding a little bit lately. They did take the 2-gamer in Texas last week, but then dropping 2 out of 3 to the Brewers. They dropped game 1 of this 3-gamer to the Rockies, which is a road series last night, 3-2. And then they go right back into Milwaukee again at the end of the series, at the end of the Rockies series. So it's 4 in Milwaukee. The Diamondbacks, they really need to get everything together, because if not, it's going to be a very rough trip for the Diamondbacks the rest of the way out. That would be, I'd be a little surprised if that happened. With the Mets, we'll talk about them when Ron gets back on, because I want to talk about the Phillies-Mets series. I'm going to jump it over to the American League now. Currently, the Yankees have the number 1 overall seed, Guardians 2, Astros 3. In the wild card, the Orioles now 3 games back from the Yankees. They lost some ground against the Yankees this past week, but they're 5 up in the wild card. The Royals are 2 up, and the Twins are at the bottom of the wild card. The Tigers are making moves. They're a game and a half back. They moved up a game and a half from last week. The Mariners are only 2 games back, and they gained 2.5 games from last week as well. And the Red Sox at 4 games back, no movement from last week. Looking around here at some of the American League races, the Guardians, they split with Tampa Bay, which again, when you're chasing that playoff berth, splits are really not what you need right now, especially against a team that's the Rays aren't technically out yet. It's getting a little far out, but they're not technically eliminated, and they still could have a chance to get back in. Welcome back. But they did sweep the White Sox too, doing what they needed to get done over there. Granted, the White Sox are a hot dumpster fire this year.
Come on, somebody beating the White Sox.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like Shohei not hitting a home run.
Yeah, right. Or stealing a base in his quest for 50-50. So let's, Ron, since you're back, let's roll it back to Philadelphia. It was a good week. It's what the Phillies needed last week. I know you and Jason would have liked to have seen a sweep of the Mets, but you know what? You took 2 out of 3, and then you swept the Rays. So
a sweep would have been nice, but honestly, winning the series is also good.
Yeah. And it was a pretty I know you lost game 1 11-3. Nola just had one of those weird Nola games where he couldn't do anything. But for the rest of the series, I mean, your bullpen especially was damn solid throughout.
Fucking Walker.
Yeah. Who would have thought Taijuan Walker, all they needed to do was demote him to the bullpen and he's going to wake up and pitch better? Who would have thought? I still think in the offseason, the Phillies either need to trade him for 20 pounds of blackened catfish or just cut him loose and eat the money, because there's nothing there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a first half pitcher, and he didn't pitch hardly at all in the first half because he was hurt. When he did, he wasn't great.
If he's good out of the bullpen, maybe keep him around and just keep him as for a bullpen game to eat up a couple innings.
Yeah, you could do that. It's a lot of money for a long reliever, though.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of wasted money to sign him in the first place.
That's a very fair point. I didn't like the signing because of the money when they made it, and the fact that he's only ever in his career been a good pitcher in the first half. He's not worth the money.
He's always injured.
Yeah. He's injured, or the 2 or 3 years he wasn't injured, he falls apart because his arm can't handle it. So let's look at the Mets right now. Like I said, they did drop 2 out of 3 from you guys, and then they did take 2 out of 3 from Toronto beginning the week. They did beat the Nationals last night. You guys still have 4 more with them, don't you? I forgot you guys have back-to-back series.
Yeah, they go Thursday back to New York.
I forgot it was back-to-back series. So you know me, I'm not wild about how many times this year it's been, all right, I play Team A, I play a couple other teams. Next week I'm playing Team A again.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
Like, we could spread it out a little bit more. It's not going to hurt anything. How are you feeling about having the Mets again on the weekend series?
If pitching can hold up, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. And then we'll have the Mets then in the last week of the season. They're going to be in Atlanta for that, and the Mets end the year on the road at Milwaukee. I mean, this is the last break they have. The Nationals right now. This is the last break in their schedule, and then, like I said, Philly for 4, and then 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Milwaukee. And considering the top of the NL is tight right now. Everybody, the division, the number 1 overall is not out of the picture for any of the 3 teams. Phillies lead it right now coming into games tonight, but the Dodgers are only a game behind them, and Milwaukee's only 3 behind. So everybody is going to everybody's going to be playing, hard for that top seed. So nobody's going to be resting players. If the Mets think they might be able to get a lucky last series, I think they better think again on that one.
Yeah.
Big Jim chiming in over here. Live look in from Lancaster. The Stormer bats seem to wake up. York is up 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. That's a little disappointing. Yeah, the Stormers seem to wake up, but I gotta be honest, man. York has had our number all year, so I'd love to see us pull it off, but 3-peat feels like it might be a little bit of a stretch at this point because of just how much York has had Lancaster's number this year. All right, let me hop it back over to the American League here. Let me pull the Yankees up here because I'll talk a little bit about my trip up to NYC a little later. But the Yankees, man, they've been getting it done. 2 out of 3 from Kansas City early in the week last week, and then they took 3 out of 4 from Boston, including the game I was at. Got to watch Juan Soto have his first walk-off hit for the Yankees. I got to tell you, man, as much as I hate to say it, the Yankees are playing like the class of the American League right now. I know they're in a virtual tie right now with Houston, or not with Houston, excuse me, with Cleveland for that top seed. It's only 0.04 of a percentage point away, but that's going to go late. But I think the Yankees, I really like their chances to get there. They are in Seattle this week. They're in Oakland this week. And then next week, home for Baltimore, home for Pittsburgh. So Baltimore is still not even out of it for their chance to catch. They're only 3 behind the Yankees coming into games tonight. So definitely not out of the run there. AL East battle has been as good as we were hoping for in the preseason. And honestly, maybe a little
better.
Yeah. Because nobody thought the Yankees were going to be quite this good coming in, and it's been really good.
I don't think anybody thought the Red Sox were going to be quite this good.
Yeah, the Red Sox.
Be honest, I mean,
yeah, they are 4 back coming into games tonight. I mean, they're not out of the wild card race. It's time's getting tight, and 4 games that feels like a lot at this point, but they're definitely not out of that race so far. And then the Tigers, where did the Tigers freaking come from? They've been languishing most of the year, and then they bench Javi Baez, and they all of a sudden remember how to freaking play baseball again. Since Javi's been benched, they've been on a roll, and they were 3 games back last week. They've cut it down to a game and a half this week. I don't think you should sleep on the Tigers at this point. I mean, that's the way they're playing. right now. That's a scary team, especially with Tariq Skubal leading the way. They did beat Kansas City on the road last night 7-6. They're playing right now. And then they've got Baltimore to end the week. So they're on the road all week. So it's a big prove-it week for them. They took 2 out of 3 from the Rockies last week, and they did take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore at home. So this is a really, really big series and a big week for the Tigers overall. I mean, that would be huge if they could take one, if not both of those series. I don't know that they're going to take the last series from Baltimore in Baltimore. I feel like that feels like a bit of a stretch, even with all the injuries the Orioles have had to their pitching staff. But I've been surprised before, and this season has been nothing but surprises, especially because we might only have a couple teams hit 100 wins this year.
I don't even think that, honestly.
It's going to be close. The Phillies might. I mean, the Phillies are already at 90 wins. The Yankees are already at 90 wins. Oh, no, the Yankees are at 87. Yeah, it might be like Phillies, Dodgers, and that might be about it. We'll have to see who gets hot over the last 2 weeks. All right, and for our dearly departed teams that have been officially eliminated, the National League has had 4 teams that are done for the year: Rockies, Marlins, Nationals, and Pirates. And in the American League, of course, the White Sox, which, by the way, Ron, if you were curious, you were closer to the playoffs in DDAB fantasy than the White Sox are at this point. The White Sox are 43 and a half games out of the wild card. Which is they're actually 43 and a half games back. I'm sorry, no, they're 51 games back in the division. So you did much better than the Chicago White Sox with their 36 and 115, 238 winning percentage season and their hideous negative 307 run differential. Good God. That's something. That's something.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
And then joining the White Sox in elimination mode on the AL side is, of course, the Angels and the Athletics. All right. So with the playoffs, do you think – let's look at the National League primarily. Do you think the 3 teams in right now, the Padres, D-backs, and Mets, do you think that's going to be the wild card, or do you think it's going to be Padres, Mets, Braves? Which 3 teams are you going to call in at this point?
Oh, it's honestly gonna be a toss-up between. I don't know. Oh, let me look at something here.
I know it's a tough one.
It's gonna be close between the Mets and the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Padres are definite. I think the Diamondbacks probably most likely. They got a good enough team.
See, the way the Diamondbacks have been playing, I actually think it might be Padres, Braves, Mets. I think the Diamondbacks might slip out, but then again, I also don't trust the Mets with that schedule, so I could also see like Padres, Diamondbacks, Braves, or Braves, Diamondbacks. You know, the bottom 2 might flip-flop. I don't think that really matters, to be honest. Personally, I'd love to be the team that has to play Milwaukee because Atlanta always beats at Milwaukee in the playoffs. But, you know, I just want to get in at this point because we are not locked up by any small stretch of the imagination. So I'm more of the let's get in. Looking at the American League side, so like I said, Orioles +5, Royals +2, Twins, and then Tigers a game and a half back, Mariners 2 back, Red Sox 4 back. What are you feeling for the 3 teams in the AL? I think the Orioles and the Royals are probably set. But do you think the Tigers could catch the Twins? Do you think the Mariners could catch the Twins?
I don't think the Mariners are. I think if anybody does, it's gonna end up being the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
They got a really decent team this year, and I'm shocked at that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of like they're kind of reminding me of the Red Sox back in 21, where they surprised everybody getting into the playoffs a couple years before we thought they would. That's kind of how I'm feeling out the Tigers this year. It wouldn't shock me if they caught the Twins. It also wouldn't surprise me if the Twins hold on. Minnesota's schedule the rest of the way out. They're at Cleveland for 4 right now, and then at Boston for 3 this week, and then next week 3 home against the Marlins, and then they end the year with Baltimore at home. So it's not a cakewalk out, that's for sure. They're gonna, if the Twins make it, they're going to earn their spot in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's rip the Band-Aid off and talk about fantasy baseball. So last week, my team's bats decided to go absolutely ice cold and quiet, and as such, Jason absolutely obliterated me, 18-7. In the other semifinal, Tim knocked out Todd almost by an identical score of 17-7. So the final matches for this week. It is Jason against Tim, and Jason is up 11-10 right now. And then in the third place game, it is me and Todd. I am up 12-10 right now. And in the fight for the first overall pick, Ron is winning right now, 13-11 over Joe.
Unfortunately.
So right now, Ronnie, Joe's going to get the number 1 overall pick next year. Lucky you. It's been a fun year. It's been a fun year in fantasy. It was fun to expand to 6 because there's just so much more you need to keep an eye out with the fantasy rosters, and trying to catch that young guy coming up when he's hot and then dumping him or trading him right at his peak right before everybody else in the league figures him out and he sucks for about a month and a half. It's been a fun year. Did not help that I got next to nothing out of my keepers this year because Acuna got hurt early and Cole's been hurt for a lot of the year, and he's been fine, but nothing wild ever since he came back. But there's always next year. All right. So last Thursday, my mom is a huge Yankees fan. For her birthday this year, she wanted all of us to go up to Yankee Stadium to see a game. So I'm going to pull up some pictures here, Ron. Enjoy the trip, on the way in, the skyline, gorgeous skyline. This is the neighborhood right before you get to Yankee Stadium, just some beautiful houses. Of course, the outside of new Yankee Stadium. They did such a good job of keeping the old architecture of the old stadium while making it more modernized than the old stadium. Good old Babe Ruth Plaza out there in the front. We got there pretty early, so we walked around a little bit. The Park Plaza, I think it's the Park Plaza. I think is like apartments. Some beautiful tiling on there. And Gate 6. Had to get some pictures of the Babe. So this is not from our seats. This is right before you get to the Memorial Garden in center field. But it was, as you can see, it was a beautiful night for baseball. Panorama around. My mom and dad back down in the Monument Park. So what's really neat, Ron, back in the Monument Park, you have all the retired numbers. The players have plaques with their numbers, and then the Hall of Famers have these the Yankees Club Hall of Fame. They also have their separate plaques back in the very back. So Jeter, O'Neill. A plaque for Nelson Mandela, who actually did go to some games at the old Yankee Stadium. Of course, Jackie's number's back there because it's retired by everybody. This kind of disappointed me. If you look at like Gehrig's plaque down here, just for his number retirement, and a couple of them were pretty beaten up. Casey Stengels has some scratches. Bill Dickey's is really scratched out. I was a little surprised to see that out of the Yankees, where tradition is such a big thing for them. That said, though, it's still getting to walk around there, around all the all of the retired numbers, the history that the Yankees have. The 3 big plaques in the center of it are, of course, Miller Huggins, who was their manager through the 1918 through 29. Of course, the Babe. This plaque here. So it's just about the insignia that's laid in there. Tiffany, I believe. Yeah, Tiffany helped lay that and get all that set for him. Rizzuto and Martin, Reggie, Don, Joe Torre, Mariano, Guidry. And then, just some of the other plaques around. They were trying to get us to keep moving because they had to close it in like half hour. So I was just snapping pictures of the plaques to read later. Posada and Yogi and Reggie Jackson, Willie Randolph, Howard, Mel Stottlemyre, Lefty Gomes, Torrey. And then, of course, they had more of the bigger plaques in the back, Joe DiMaggio. And, of course, George Steinbrenner had to have the biggest damn plaque in the middle of everything because it's George. And, of course, Mickey was back there, too. Didn't upload that. The other big one in the front section was, of course, Lou Gehrig. And Stengel, Dickey, Whitey Ford, Paul O'Neill, Bernie, Rizzuto, Pettit, Mattingly, Mo. They had a really beautiful plaque over here for 9/11 that I think that actually moved from the old stadium to the new stadium. I'm pretty sure that's the original one. And then it's just some other commemoration ones. So this, Ron, if you get up to a game in Yankee Stadium, get yourself one of these 99 burgers.
I don't know if I ever get up there, but
2 Wagyu patties, cheese, some caramelized onions, secret sauce, a lot of pickles. Freaking delicious.
I know.
So damn good, dude.
I know, I follow this group. It's called Fans of Philly. I don't know if you ever see them post on Facebook or whatever time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do fan trips. When they went up to Yankee Stadium, I wanted to go along, but I was like, I didn't have the money for it, so that was a no.
It's not cheap to get up. It's expensive to go to Yankee Stadium.
But it included 2 games or all 3 games or something stupid and the hotel.
Oh, that's not bad actually. Yeah, if you ever have the spare money to get up there, I highly recommend it. It's such a great experience, and when big things happen, that stadium gets loud and it roars. And the food is just phenomenal. I didn't take a picture of it, but I had some of their falafel later. The falafel was really good. My brother got some garlic parm fries that were top notch. Oh, so much good.
I love garlic parm fries.
So much good food up there. So this is our seats from where we were. We were 20 rows back in section 107. If you were on the very aisle seat, home plate was a little bit obstructed by the pole, but the TVs were right there, and it's only like a second and a half delay, so really no big deal. But we had great view of the action on the field. Let me tell you, both teams made some amazing defensive plays in that game. Of course, my mom had to point this banner out. My mom being a diehard Yankees fan. Yeah, 27-time world champion. Yeah, I know, Mom. Shut up. We'll catch you eventually.
Yeah, we know you bought your championships.
And on the 20s and 30s. For any parents with kids who remember Don't Let the Pitch and Drive the Bus, they had Mo Willems made a special New York Yankees pitching shirt. That was pretty funny. They had some members of the U.S. women's soccer team from the gold medal team from the Olympics out before the game started. In the fourth inning, when the grounds crew comes out and they're raking the infield, they're playing YMCA in the grounds crew. They drop the mats and do the YMCA as they're going through, and then pick the mats back up, keep raking, drop it again for the next one. That was pretty awesome. Grounds crew did a phenomenal job. I mean, the field looked absolutely pristine. There's something that always kills Jason in the show, and I had to grab a video and send it to him, and he said, "You know what? Yeah, that's one of the guys in the current show that I absolutely hate to face." So, note to self, Ron: if you play Jason in the show anytime soon, make sure you have him. Because Jason cannot hit submariners for crap. I used to kill him with who's the guy from the Orioles who also played for the Braves? Darren O'Day. Oh my God, Darren O'Day killed Jason every time. It was great. Too bad he couldn't make it 9 innings as a starter. And then so this was that was right after he pitched, and then this was after the walk off. Everybody chasing Soto around out there. I didn't realize it till after the game, but that was the first ever walk off hit for Juan Soto. So. In a Yankee uniform, so it was such a good time, and I'm glad for my mom that the Yankees won because it's her birthday present, her team. It didn't feel right rooting for the Red Sox too loudly. Right in front of us was a couple. The husband was wearing a Red Sox shirt, and the wife was wearing a Yankee shirt, and oh boy, she's pretty relentless throughout that game. And I'll give him credit; he wasn't too loud when the Red Sox came back and tied it. I did have to note that Aaron Judge missed 2 home runs by maybe 2 feet each time. Caught right near the top of the wall, and then he had a sharp liner that passed third that should have been a base hit, but Rafael Devers showed that amazing glove, snared it, and threw him out. He did get a single up the middle late though, so. And then the next night, of course, the day after we were there, Judge hits a freaking grand slam because, of course, he did.
I'm so tired of hearing about him and Ohtani and.
I know. Gleyber Torres did lead off the game with a home run, and it was. That thing came down diagonally right of us, just one section over. Like, that was freaking sweet to be that close to a home run.
He didn't even hit it that hard either, because I was watching that game, and it was.
He really didn't. It just carried. So, yeah, that's where they're standing so far. And like I said, man, you ever get a chance to get up to Yankee Stadium and do it, you will not regret it. It is a beautiful stadium, and there is so much to walk around and see in there. All right, so let's take a look here. Playoffs have started for the Atlantic League. It is the let me pull the schedule up here. The Barnstormers are playing York. Again, Jim is there tonight, and they were down at his last update. In the South Division, it's Charleston and Gastonia. So we'll have to see what's going to happen in those games. Were you surprised to see the Stormers hold on? I mean, it's one thing I like about the league, how they do the split year division titles, because it was such a bad first half for the Stormers, and they turned it on so much in the second half. It was really good to see.
Not gonna lie, I have not paid any fucking attention to them at all.
That's all right.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's just I haven't, I've been so busy over the summer and whatnot.
This has been a crazy summer. Yeah, it's definitely been one of the busiest I can remember. So games 1 and 2 are tonight and tomorrow. They're home against the Revolution. And then the rest of the series is Friday, Saturday, Sunday at York. Of course, games 4 and 5 will be if necessary. And then for the championship series, that'll be next week. The first 2 games will be at the South Division champion, and then the last 3 will be home for whoever wins the North, whether it'll be York or whether it'll be Lancaster. So we'll see. Hey, it's always exciting that they have a chance to go for the three-peat. I don't know, man. It feels like a little bit of a stretch if they're going to get the three-peat, but it's cool that they at least even have that opportunity to do it.
Oh, it's like, yeah, it'd be exciting, but then again, I'm kind of at the point with like all these championships coming through. Like, the Bears won the Calder Cup again. Cool. I'm tired of hearing about it. Barnstormers won back-to-back. Okay, cool. I'm really tired of fucking hearing about it. Like,
I get it.
At a certain point, like, it's gonna become like how the Yankees were in the late 90s. And how
we never need to go. We never need to go back to the Yankees in the late 90s. I'm okay if the Yankees don't.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, I'm so like.
It is nice when you get some good variety in there. Variety is good. I won't disagree with that. All right, so let's move it to Down on the Farm. Top hitter this week was this was one of the easiest Down on the Farm picks I think I've ever had to make when Jason doesn't do it himself. Outfielder Jonathan Rodriguez. He plays for the Columbus Clippers. They are the AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians. Last week, he played 5 games, 22 at-bats. He slashed 500, 1.182. 8 runs, 11 hits, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 9 RBIs, no walks, only 1 strikeout, and 1 stolen base. It's not too bad.
It's a pretty good week.
Yeah, boy, I'd kill to have a week like that. Pitcher is going to be Chad Patrick of Nashville. Nashville Sounds. Yeah, the Sounds. AAA affiliate of the Brewers. Beautiful ballpark. Highly recommend you get down there and see a game if you can. He got a no decision in his 1 appearance, but he went 6 innings, struck out 12, and only allowed 3 hits, no runs, no walks. Not bad. All right, and then because, of course, baseball could not let us go a week without having some kind of a story, you have Derek Bender of the Twins, who's going to get the biggest dope/dumbass of the year award over Rob Manfred. We didn't think that was possible preseason, but he did it. Mr. Bender is a 6th-round pick, 188th overall out of Coastal Carolina in July's draft, and the Twins have released him because he was tipping the opposing hitters the types of pitches that were coming in a game that eliminated his team from the playoffs. He was playing for the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles, that's the Twins single-A team, against the Lakeland Flying Tigers, the Detroit single-A team. The Flying Tigers, scored 4 runs in the second. They won the game 6-0 and clinched the Florida State League West Division, eliminating the Mighty Muscles, who had held a 6-game lead only 3 weeks earlier. Do you want to talk about September collapses? There you go. That's a pretty good one. The Fort Myers coaches were actually notified by Lakeland's coaches about the pitch tipping after the game. And his willingness to tip the pitches surprised the Lakeland players. Let's be real. If I was the pitcher and my catcher was tipping pitches, the team didn't release him, I was going to kick his ass. He told teammates he just wanted the season to be over. So the Twins didn't release him immediately. I love this, Ron. For the last 2 games, they made him go out to the bullpen and be the freaking bullpen catcher for the last 2 games of the year before they gave him his unconditional release.
I'm sure somebody will pick him up.
He signed for $297,500, which is below his slot value of $328,000. He will, because this is baseball and it's guaranteed money, he is going to keep the entirety of that bonus. I don't know if he will. He didn't hit well. I mean, it was only 19 games, but he hit 200, 273, 333, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. He did play very well in his 3 years at Coastal Carolina, though. 326, 408, 571, 32 homers, 153 RBIs in 144 games. So he averaged more than an RBI a game.
Yeah,
you're probably right. It's very, very likely somebody will at least take a flyer on him, but he's not going to see $297,000 signing bonus anytime soon. He's going to be playing for league minimum anytime from here on out. I mean, I just I understand being frustrated with your poor performance. I understand being he was probably exhausted. He played the entire NCAA season, which, remember, that starts earlier than the minor league year.
Yeah.
And then, he was probably legitimately tired out. I don't take that away from him, but that's when you say, Coach, I'm gassed and I'm not playing very well. Can I either get an extra day off or something? And it was a doubleheader, so he probably didn't even have to catch the first game. Of course, the fact that he wanted the other catcher to catch both games is kind of dumb as hell. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm personally hoping that he gets re-signed by another team in that league. And then he has to face the Flying Tigers against the pitcher he screwed over. And I hope that pitcher puts one in his grill because he earned that one. I know the unwritten rules aren't really as they're not nasty like they used to be, but I just feel like that would be a kind of appropriate one. What do you think?
I'm sure something will happen. It doesn't matter where he ends up some way. Something will come down to it.
Yeah. I heard that happen and I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this actually for real?
Yeah, I was reading about it as we started posting it in our group chat. I was like, oh, okay.
Like this isn't Major League. You don't have the catcher because the pitcher's ignoring you, tipping off batters to teach you a lesson. This is straight up, I don't care. And I'm done. Like, come on, there's better ways to handle that than just tipping your pitcher's pitches off to the other team. That's bad.
It's like, okay, well, he was doing that, but you have MLB pitchers tipping their own pitches.
Yeah.
Why is that okay?
Them's be the rules, man. Them's be the rules. Yeah. Well, and remember earlier this year, it was the Yankees and Blue Jays. The Yankees first base coach was way up the line above the box, almost on the foul line, trying to see the catcher's signals and then, relaying them into the hitter. And they actually caught video of Aaron Judge looking down to the first base coach before a hit that he smashed. So yeah, it still happens. It's not that like that really shouldn't happen. The coaches need to stay in their boxes during the pitch, but that's better than what the Astros did, where you have somebody out in center field with binoculars, electronically relaying signals in and beating out the batters via trash cans or something on you that vibrates to let you know the pitch. I will never forgive the Astros and hope forever that they never win another World Series title from that. But anyway, so yeah, we'll have to see where he winds up. I'm genuinely curious to see what happens to him. All right, I have a unique milestone this week, Ron. Helio Ramos. After 25 seasons, he became the first ever right-handed hitter to hit a home run into McCovey Cove out in San Francisco. I didn't realize we'd never had a right-handed hitter put one out there. Like, I understand most of the right-handed power guys are pure pull hitters, so they're not usually going to splash one that way. But that's crazy that after 25 seasons, it took 25 seasons to have it happen.
Yeah, and you got to think of all the big names that have gone through there.
Yeah, and a ton of good right-handed hitting out of the NL West for the last 5-10 years. So it's not like there wasn't opportunity. So, all right, Ron. I
have another milestone.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's not that big, but I think it was Sunday. Bryce Harper hit his 150th home run as a Philly.
Okay.
So I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I mean, it's not something I'm personally super excited about, but that's a cool stat nevertheless.
He just smashed another one too, so.
Let's see here. Yeah, the Mets are up 9-1 over Washington. I think we could say that one's over. Cincinnati went back ahead of Atlanta 6-5. Miami's up on the Dodgers 9-7. Wow, did not expect that. Philly's up 3-1 over the Brewers.
Holy shit.
Athletics up 4-2 over the Cubbies right now.
The Giants are killing the Orioles.
Wow. 8-0. Yeah, I didn't expect to see that, especially in Baltimore. And then that Twins Guardians, that's 4-1 Twins right now in the bottom of the ninth. So a little surprised. Ohtani is at 48-48 in his chase for 50-50. That's a pity.
All I got to say is I hope he doesn't win MVP.
He's going to win MVP, dude.
Because it's so stupid. MVP should include your fielding. He has not played the damn field.
No, well, so what do you think about what would you think if it was Ozuna? Same thing?
Well, he gets into the field at least. He can if he needs to.
I don't think he's played in the field all year. Let me look.
But you know what I mean, like Ohtani. When was the last time he ever played in the field other than pitching?
It's been a while because even the Angels stopped using him in the field.
That's my point. Like, you're going to take it away from somebody that's busted their butt.
I don't disagree with that. And Ozuna has not played in the field at all this year. He's been DH every game. It really makes me mad, though, because as Jason likes to point out, it's the most valuable player to their team. And Ozuna, I think, has been more valuable to the Braves than Ohtani has been to the Dodgers because Atlanta has been just in such a power sap this year and being incredibly streaky. I mean, and their stats are incredibly comparable. I mean, Ohtani's scored more. He's way up on runs, 119-90, but the rest of it's really tight. Ozuna has more hits overall, 171-169. Ohtani's got doubles, 32-28. Ohtani does have 7 triples. Home runs, Ohtani's running away, 48-37. RBIs, 110-98. Walks, 77-69. Ozuna has one more strikeout, 157 versus 156. And of course, Otani's got the stolen bases. But looking at the slash line, though, it's a 304 average versus a 288 average. Ozuna's got the lead there, and OPS is not that far off, 984 versus 931. I hate to say it, but it's going to be Otani. I really wish it wasn't, but
it's just bullshit. Like, they're gonna take it away from somebody that, not saying Ozuna doesn't deserve it, because he can play the field if needed.
Yeah.
But like, you're gonna take it away from, let's say, Harper. He had a hell of a season playing on the field and batting.
Actually, the guy I think that I don't think it's Harper they would be taking.
Well, I'm just
away
using
from
him as an example.
Yeah, I think the other legit candidate that it's being stolen to use the term loosely is Francisco Lindor. Lindor is single-handedly trying to carry the Mets on his back into the playoffs.
He got hot too.
Yeah. Well, listen to the season line: 271, 342, 494, 836 for the line. He scored 103 runs. He's got 163 hits, 39 doubles, a triple, 31 homers, 86 RBIs, 54 walks, 124 strikeouts with 24 stolen bases. He's having a great year, and he's playing really strong defense out there at shortstop. And as we know, shortstop is not an easy position to play. And he's at 6.7 WAR on the year, which is wild. But, you compare it to Shohei. And Shohei, I feel like WAR perhaps overstates stolen bases at times, because that's part of the reason why Shohei's WAR is so high. Shohei's at 7.3. And that's with no defensive help at all. So I think he's getting an extremely strong boost from his stolen bases. And I wonder if that's because Baseball Reference and, a couple other places that use WAR, they do tweak their formula from time to time. So now that stolen bases are becoming more commonplace with the rule changes from last year, I wonder if you see them start to tweak the formula for WAR slightly and adjust it. The bigger race I'm looking at, though, Cy Young in the NL, man, it's going to be close between Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler. I don't think anybody else in the NL is going to be close. Shota had a great year, but Wheeler and Sale are clearly the class of the National League this year.
Wheeler hit 200 strikeouts tonight.
Yes, he's at 205. Yep. So
yeah, it's until Otani comes back and starts pitching, and then I'll be, Otani MVP, Cy Young, same time, same year.
I don't think Otani's ever going to get a Cy Young. He's not that dominant of a pitcher. I don't see it. I'd be very surprised. Now, right now, Chris Sale is going to be the first. If the season ended today, Chris Sale would be the first National League pitcher since Clayton Kershaw to win the Triple Crown. It's been that long, I think 2010 or 11, something like that. It's been a long time, like mid-prime Clayton Kershaw years. Sale's got the win edge on Wheeler, 17-15, the ERA edge 235 to 258. Wheeler has made two more starts. So Wheeler does have the innings pitch lead. Sale's only allowed 8 home runs to 18 and has struck out 219 to 205. You got a whip of 1 versus a whip of 0.96. I think Jason's probably correct. If both of them pitch out as they have, it's going to be Sale. If one of them gets lit up in one of their final starts, it's probably going to go to the other guy.
When's Sale's next start?
Let me see here. Sale starts. Is he tomorrow? I feel like he's tomorrow. Let me see here. No, he pitches Thursday in Cincinnati against Aguilar, and then he'll pitch Wednesday the week after against Severino, home against New York. 1, 2, 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which also means if they need Sale on short, if they need Sale on short rest to win the last game to pitch the last game of the season, he'll be able to.
Yeah, because Wheeler will go again on Sunday against the Mets, but that's TBD for the Mets. And then I think his next possible start would be Saturday if they need him to go. But if they already clinched the East and that number 1 seed by then, I think they're probably going to end up resting him.
Yeah, his last start would be the 28th at Milwaukee if they need him. To be honest, if I'm Rob Thompson, I'm going to do what Atlanta did in 21 and 22 when they were running away with the division and throw him out there, but just have him throw like 2 to 3 innings, just enough so that he doesn't, get rusty with that long layoff, especially if they're going to have a bye. But you don't want him to go a full 100 pitch load, but maybe like a couple innings, you know,
Make
just
it a
let him throw.
bullpen game.
Yeah, I could see that too. Treating it as a bullpen game, but him as the opener. So, what are you thinking? Who do you think is gonna win the Cy Young?
I really don't know. You got 2 top candidates right there.
I wouldn't even hate it if it ended up being a tie this year because they've both been absolutely dominant.
And honestly, I'd love to see Wheeler do it, but I wouldn't be upset to see Sale do it. Coming over
Well,
from the Red Sox and just having the hell of a year he had.
Well, after all the injuries the poor guy's had over the last couple of years, most of them being fluke BS. Like last year when he got hit by the comebacker that broke his wrist and knocked him out for the rest. Like, come on, that wasn't his fault. he just had terrible luck up in Boston. If he does end up winning it, though, you know what the best part about the whole thing is? Boston's paying most of his salary this year. I love it.
Yeah.
Looking at the American League side at the Cy Young, I feel like it was close last week, and I feel like Tariq Skubal's really starting to run away with it over there.
I think he's gonna win it.
He's tied for the league lead in wins at 16. Seth Lugo also has 16, as does Jose Barrios. But he's got the 250 ERA. He's killing the NL. Oh, I'm sorry. He's now second in the AL in strikeouts. Cole Reagans took the lead at 217 to 214. But Skubal's whips at .94, and he's got a 206 average against. There's a couple other guys you can. I mean, Framber Valdez has had a great year for Houston. Seth Lugo's had a great year for Kansas City. Burns has had a great year for Baltimore. I feel like it's going to be Skubal's to lose, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that one's easy. And what's the wildest race of them all, man? The American League MVP. You're going to have you're going to have a 10 WAR guy lose the MVP because the guy that wins MVP is also going to have 10 WAR. Like that's wild to me to even think about something like that. I really think it should be Bobby Witt Jr., but it's going to be Aaron Judge. Here, let me pull up the head-to-head over here.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna be one to watch. Also,
It's not a sure lock at this point. Yeah, Judge is at 9.7 WAR versus 9 for Witt. Witt has significantly more hits, 200 to 169. Judge is 53 homers to 32, 132 RBIs to 108. Witt's got the stolen bases at 29 and the batting average at 332. Judge has the OBP, the slug, the OPS. And the OPS is not really close. It's 1147 for Judge versus 984 for Witt, which is still, again, not bad. 984 Witt or 984 OPS is still a phenomenal number to have. But despite Bobby Witt also playing great defense, I mean, his D WAR is 1.4, whereas Judge is -1. And Witt I think Witt's likely to win the AL Golden Glove at shortstop this year. And that's just mind-boggling that you could have 2 10 WAR guys and one of them's not good. That's another one where I wouldn't hate it if it ended up being a split. It won't be. It's likely going to be Judge pretty heavily, but you never know, man.
I think Judge probably end up running away with it.
Yeah, and I think when we end up seeing the vote totals, I don't think it's going to really end up being all that close, but you never know. So that's a look at the awards. I don't think we're really going to see a ton of others. I think we're really going to see a ton of movement. I know the rookie of the year that's all been pretty well decided for a while. I don't think there's going to be any questions there. What were your thoughts on manager of the year this year in the National League?
I'm always going to say Rob Thompson, but
it wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, it really wouldn't surprise me if Rob Thompson was strong consideration for it. He should be. What I would love to see, especially because I know it's going to irritate Cubs fans just to stir the pot a little bit. I would not be slightly upset. I know, and I hate saying this because I can't stand Milwaukee. I wouldn't be upset if they ended up giving it to Pat Murphy in his first year with the club after the Cubs poached Counsell. Because what Murphy has done with that club this year, that's a remarkable turnaround. Because none of us were all that high in Milwaukee in the preseason.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they've turned out to have a hell of a season.
I did not expect them to win the Central, and I did not expect them to be up 10 games in the Central at this point in the year. That's pretty wild. And then in the American League, I don't know. American League, it's tougher. Because I could see it go in Cleveland. I could see it go. Actually, you know what? It should be Kansas City. Because if you look at where the team was, where they're at now, just what they have done this year, Matt Quattro has done a great job with that squad this year, getting them where they're at. I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with him getting it.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ron. So that's all I have this week. It's a nice, light, easy week for us. I figured we were owed that. All right. Anything else for you? Anything else you're looking forward to?
Not really.
You just want to see the Phillies get there. Just shut the door and get it done, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the way everybody is right now.
Yeah. I'm going to be on tetherhooks the rest of the year watching this freaking Atlanta seeing if the Atlanta offense will ever show up, because they had a streak there of like 27 or 28 straight starts before it got broken, where the starters gave up 2 runs or less. Like that's so frustrating for a pitching staff to do that well, and your offense just not to be able. Because I'm sorry, if your starting pitcher gives up 2 runs or less for 25 plus games, you should be winning 20 of those.
Exactly.
That's just wild. All right, guys, you can find audio recordings on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Merchandise is at redbubble.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer, as well as our Twitter at DDAB_podcast. We're live on Twitter as well. I'm at PyroLord314. Jason's at JRicker300. Joe's at JoltonJoe35. Ron is at Dipner Ron. We're presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Manheim. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.